We are live! Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Pokemon Mystery Dungeons & Dragons, the Lanwell Chronicles. I have literally forgotten who has done or not done the recap, so, fresh start for everyone, I guess.
It's funny enough as is a fresh restart for everyone because last time we actually finished our list.
Oh, right, okay, that... I was like, what, who... I could have sworn... But good, okay, so we have done. Alright, then, yeah. Let's see who will give us the new start, and it is Crow.
Okay. On the last episode, we went back from the uh the mountaintops of Astrob's observatory, and after much deliberation, we decided to go back to the Freelance Guild to check in, as well as check in on Raven, as we suspected he might be the leader of the Darkest Knights, and it ended up my throat's a little hoarse if you couldn't tell. And we went to the Freelance Guild and confronted Raven in kind of a little roundabout way to see if he was the leader of the Darkest Knights, and it happened he was. And after explaining his motivations for forming this faction organization, we confronted him with the reasons why what he is doing would lead to kind of ruin because of Flefful's plans. And Raven's plans were to basically let them all fight and just pick off the weakest ones afterwards between the Purge and CILS. But we convinced him to maybe hold off on his plans for a little bit as we try to sort things out. And he gave us kind of a license to go around Lanwell as we please for a limited amount of time, as well as he's going to hold off his plans in full force as long as he can. After that, we decided to head for Steelport, and along the way, we went back to Dawnsbury, which was the town we went to in the very early days of our freelance guild career, or where we met with Cyrus, or at least Eugene and Reniel did, to fix up his to fix up Eugene's rapier, which was actually belonged to Cyrus's ancestor, Glenn Starshard, to perhaps get rid of the annoying little property that makes you go berserk in the when confronting Ultra Beasts. After he agreed, and we had a little bit getting to know him a little better, we left the rapier in his possession while he fixed it up, and went to Steelport, where we ran into a group of bandits hijacking a merchant. After showing off our new level 7 skills, we stopped the bandits, and not one of them got away, and we got a free ride from the merchant, where we took the bandits with us and arrested them. We then went to see the mayor of Steelport, who was Astesis. That name is so weird. Yeah, hard time saying it. Um, which we know is the leader of the Purge through our investigations, where she basically hired us to deal with the pirates, as well as drop the bombshell that implies that Eugene's parents are part of the Purge. And we will also be working with Aurora, who was another freelance guild member who is the daughter of this mayor. And I think that's where we pick off after.
Yep, pretty much. A little long-winded, but it was also a very long episode, so yeah, take your D6 luck points.
Uh, oh, I'm in the wrong channel. Is that right? Yeah, it's 1. Excellent.
Ouch. Apparently Parser didn't like, or actually I think that was Parser. No, that was a fair. Well, apparently the dice bot didn't like your recap, but oh well. Anyways, so it is now evening, and you are in this city. For now, you are aware that it'll be 2 days before your ship is ready, and you were asked to. One of the things you didn't cover in the recap was you were asked to go get or go get yourself a crew. But for now, it's late evening, so you're probably best to find some sort of shelter for the night.
Okay. Um, I I guess I maybe explained what happened in that room too.
Oh, right. Yeah. Because that was right where the episode left off. So,
Is actually is Aurora with us?
No, Aurora's not around.
Okay. I I I'm guessing I left the room. I was kind of feigning ignorance in front of the mirror. But when I leave, it kind of a dark cloud comes over Eugene.
I was muted this whole time.
Oops.
Feels bad, man. Okay, Rainiel's going to notice this and he's going to say, telepathically to Eugene, "What happened in there?"
I My parents are with them.
The purge?
I nod.
My sincerest condolences, Eugene. I cannot imagine that I will be very good for comfort, but if you need a shoulder to cry on, I believe I can at least manage that.
Let's just get a room.
Rainiel nods.
Okay, so are you guys gonna head to an inn?
Yes.
Alright, you walk around town. It's a pretty large town. Like, I am terrible at scale, so I won't actually give an actual size, but it's a fairly large town. But you eventually find a decently modest inn, not one of the fancier. I assume you guys aren't going for something fancy, you're just gonna go for something modest?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, you find a decently modest inn, and this one appears to be ran by Minen. He looks over you guys and says, "Welcome to Steelport Small Inn. Are you here to stay the night?"
Indeed, we are.
Alright. Will that be one room for the bunch of you, or will that be multiple rooms?
I think one for all of us.
Oh, okay. Neat. That'll give you a discount. That'll be 2 gold for all of you. Dinner and breakfast is included.
2
I'll go
gold
ahead.
altogether, or 2 gold each?
2 gold altogether.
Guess I'll spot it.
Okay. You hand her the 2 gold, and she hands you a key. Says, "All right, your rooms are on the 2nd floor. It'll have a nice view of the sea, actually. Enjoy your stay."
Harold gives a polite nod, heads up the stairs.
Okay, so you walk up the stairs and you go to your room, and it's fairly modest room, enough size for the 4 of you. But like she said, you do get a pretty good view of the sea, and in fact, you also get a pretty good view of the sunset at this point in time as well, as it reflects off the waves.
Raniel's just kind of sitting at the window, looking out at pretty much exactly like a cat would.
You see
If the
Randy.
windowsill is large, if the windowsill is large enough to accommodate him, he would likely be sitting on it.
It is, yes. There is a fairly large windowsill there.
Okay, that is what Raniel is doing.
Raniel has gone full cat, everybody. Be afraid.
It's been a while since we've had any seaside view, hasn't it?
Suppose it has.
It is no field of flowers, but I suppose it is beautiful nonetheless.
For me, it's just nice to see the sea again. Mostly for the breeze.
While Raniel's looking out the window, he's going to be keeping an eye on the streets to see if Aurora passes by at all.
Okay. Roll perception.
It's going to go great. Okay. Seven.
No, you do not notice. There's various. From what its angle, it is sort of hard to see the streets, but from what you can see, while there's various Pokemon coming and going across the streets, you don't notice a Glaceon among them.
Okay. So what do we plan to do about our crew?
Most likely, I'm going to see about contacting Eisen again. See if the rest of the crew will want to join in. The biggest concern I have is whether or not they'll want to actually go in on the attack, as it were. I can't imagine Eisen wouldn't want to join. I think there's a good part of him and me that both want revenge.
Hopefully they're close enough for it to be a reasonable option.
Would you like me to find out?
Yeah, it might be a bit of a surprise. I could also just... Well, no. The only really good option is to directly contact, because mail would take too long.
Okay. Raniel is going to cast Sending to Eisen and say, if you are in the vicinity of Steelport, could you meet us at the hotel? The modest one, not the fancy one.
Was that 25 words or under?
Yes, it was. I counted. It was 17.
Oh my gosh. Okay. All right. You hear a response that says, "We're close, yes. We should be there on the morrow. We will see you then."
He will see us tomorrow.
Oh. Well, that works out nicely.
How useful that he's already close by.
Convenient indeed.
And Sergey just kind of goes back to looking out the window at the sea and ends up eventually just sort of opening up the window.
Yeah. I'm gonna go outside. And I climb out the window onto the roof.
How are you climbing on the roof?
What was that?
How are you
Would
climbing
you
on the
like
roof?
would you
Through
like
the
company?
window. Sure.
Okay.
Go out with him.
There's a lot of overlapping talk there, so I'm not too sure if...
You
Yeah.
were saying how was it getting on the roof, and I said through the window.
Not quite what I meant, but oh well. All right. So yeah, you and Harold both plant yourselves on top of the window while Sergey and Raniel are in front of the window. Or not on top of the hotel while Raniel and Sergey are in front of the window. You feel the sea breeze coming. It's a bit chilly because it's early winter. Probably not nearly as chilly as it is around where I live, but still pretty chilly.
Actually, we're in the southern hemisphere and it's December, so it'd be summer.
All right.
Oh, yeah.
Never mind, it's actually decently warm then.
And when I'm on the roof, I just start maybe looking at the stars in the sky.
Well, it's sunset, but there's
Yeah.
probably a couple of the really bright stars that are twinkling at this time. Not a lot, but there are a few stars up there.
It takes a little bit, but eventually Reniel will hop up onto the roof too.
I guess seeing that everyone else is going on the roof, Sergey's going to poke his head out the window and try to look up to the roof. I guess we're going to be hanging out up there. Oh, I'm going to follow him.
You have to do a check to get up here.
Do I?
I mean, I was half tempted to have you make a check to climb up onto the roof, but at this point in time, since everyone's going up there, just go ahead. Okay, you all make up to the roof. You watch the sunset together as the sun slowly fades along the horizon. And as you end up seeing more and more stars in the sky, you notice that a star falls. And then another, and another. It seems there's a meteor shower tonight.
I wonder if any of those are landing on cabbage stands.
You know, I remember hearing stories of sailors getting lost at sea, passing through Steelport sometimes. And you know what they'd do?
Hmm.
They'd look for the brightest star in the night sky and use it to help guide their way home. I thought I'd try to find it to help guide me, but no luck. It's just falling, it seems. Which, you know, Reniel, I think am starting to know how you felt, maybe still feel, being surrounded by friends and still feeling alone. I think I told you in Gwaybold that I envy you. You're you're so lucky, Reniel. You're so lucky.
How so?
Well, your parents love you. Mine never liked me. They've always seen me as a failure.
Why is that?
They've been trying to force me down a path that I've never wanted. And each time they try to instill it into me, by sending me away multiple times, time and time again, and sculpt me what they deemed worthy of our family name, it didn't work out because my resistance or just me inept at fitting that mold.
I'd like to think it worked out this time.
I have to agree. In this case, it did work out. You did not fit to their mold, but you made your own.
Hmm. Still, the point is that's why I envy you.
It is ironic, isn't it? I had the chance to be what I wanted to be, but fate simply took it away from me.
Well, it kind of gave it back, didn't it?
He looks at his tail and he kind of nods a little bit and says,
To some degree. I do not know if I will ever be a great scientist like either of my parents or any of my ancestors. But at least I did find the friends I needed to become an Espeon.
Eugene, I don't know if, frankly, I would expect at this point you have no interest in pleasing your parents. But I, I think you're where you're supposed to be right now. I think we all are.
Guess I failed them again, huh? But I hate them. I hate the Purge. I hate what they did to Reniel's mother. They're doing what they did to me on an extreme level. They're trying to take away a part of us that to just keep us in line because they think we don't know any better. And they're stupid to realize people just rebel against them in an extreme level.
This whole war is tearing us all apart in more ways than one, even all this time later.
I find it rather stupid. Everything that happened so long ago. Why is anyone even bothering to even consider it?
In a strange
I
way, those and war never ended.
I just worry what's at the end.
I think we all do.
It's not like a game where you slay the monster and save a princess or two. There's going to be consequences at the end, even the happiest outcome.
Previously, I would have said that only death and destruction awaited. But you have given me something that resembles hope, Eugene. I think there is a possibility that somehow we will be able to mitigate some of the worst effects.
I've said it before and I'll say it again. We're not alone in this. We're not the only ones who want to see all of this set aside.
Harold's right. Look at how the Delvers have responded. Look even at how Raven responded. Perhaps, in his way, he had admittedly extreme reactions at first, but hearing the whole story, well, you've seen how he wants to help us.
I think even the Ultra Beasts want all of this to just end.
Yeah, even those bandits we fought the other day, they were just hungry.
There's still a lot of good in this world.
It is just that currently the bad is what is in charge.
There is of it that I guess we're going to have to figure out some way of dealing with.
Well, we know our first step at least.
Yeah. And I begin to think about those bandits again. Maybe you're right. Uh, sorry about. Uh, I probably should be apologizing.
Um, I mean, it's
Thank you
not like
for.
things aren't hard right now. I think it's perfectly reasonable that you need to get things like that off your chest.
Yeah. Thank you for coming up here.
Of course.
You are welcome.
Wait. I think I see it now.
Which one is it?
The one's next to me.
How sentimental.
Okay, so
Honestly, Eugene, I think I can understand that.
yeah, good enough.
It's
No, keep going. Ignore me.
Oh, it's a funny case of found family between back when I used to fly under the flags of the Lightning's Claw to finding my way in Caldwell during the little tournament, all the way to all of us. I think I can say that in my way, you three make for a much better crew than the Leviathan's Claw ever did.
Well, that's not a very high bar to set, but I appreciate the sentiment. Harold says with a small chuckle.
Ah. That's fair. Going up with those kinds of Pokemon, none of them really do make for the freshest fruit from the tree. At least I think that's how it goes. He looks out over in the direction of where the supposed fog had been coming from. Ugh. It still makes me wonder, though. This Leviathan's treasure that was mentioned prior. If they've found it, it's certainly going to complicate it. Treasure that we've been searching for ages, and to think just when things were at their worst and our crew split, this new one finds it. Except that they don't have any reservations about not leaving any survivors.
Well, we got 2 days.
Indeed we do.
I'll figure this out. I think I might have gotten a bit of inspiration from our last fight with Fleffel. I might be able to use to help us figure out how to deal with all this.
I guess I should ask, if that device they're making is successful, would you guys be willing to fight him and cutting off his means of escape?
Renial nods.
Absolutely. I think we
Considering-
could have done it last time.
I was about to say. For all intents and purposes, last time we nearly had him. Even if it was somewhat close call thanks to the other Ultra Beasts.
Yeah. I think if we stop him from escaping, we could pin him down.
Do keep in mind, however, that Cyrus said that the sword you used will not be as potent as it was when we used it when we were fighting Fluffwell last.
That's okay, because I think it's very disadvantageous using it the way it was anyway. Because I couldn't do anything else but that. And personally, I'd rather that thing didn't exist after everything is said and done. Well, in that form anyway.
We'll just have to hope that he doesn't become a martyr.
Yeah, I think we should keep our eye on the prize for now, though, which is dealing with Leviathan's Claw.
Are you sure we want to completely disable them, though?
pirates?
Yes. After all, they are currently hindering the mayor's plans. Whatever those plans may be.
Hmm.
Well, our main objective here is really just to get that Aether Rock.
Yeah, they're not going to hand it over without a fight.
I believe if at all possible, we should leave some of them operational rather than crippling the entire organization.
Well, it all depends. Some of them are truly monsters. I don't even think that a second chance is something I'd give them.
That is
Well,
fine.
again, it's not about giving them a second chance. It's about, well, keeping them hindering the purge.
Well, there might be circumstances we don't know about yet. So it's hard to plan for something we don't know about. Otherwise, it'll just be hypothetical.
At which point we'll be talking in circles. The sort of thing we'll simply need more information about. Which means... well, it's not exactly information I can get from Eisen. But maybe some of the Pokemon in Steelport. If we can learn any more about what Leviathan's Claw has been up to exactly.
Yeah, maybe we should split up tomorrow.
I intended on doing so anyway. There is something I must deal with.
Well, let's say we get back inside and get some sleep.
Yeah, I'm just gonna stay out here a little longer.
All right.
All right. So you all, well, all of you except for Eugene, you climb back in and you begin resting. Eugene, are you going to do anything in particular or just sit out there for a while?
Watch the stars fall, and eventually go back inside.
Okay. All right, everyone, take 4 luck points for that conversation.
Okay.
Alright.
All right. So, night falls, and eventually it comes around to morning. You hear the sounds of various ships tooting their horns, and you see that the town is bustling as morning has come.
Alright, Renyl's the first one out the door.
Yeah. I'm probably headed towards the tavern.
And given our little agreement, I'm probably just going to be waiting at the hotel for Eisen to show up.
Okay. And Harold?
I'm gonna pop out to grab some supplies for scroll scribing.
All right. You will do that. So, I suppose order-wise, in terms of the RPs in any case, we'll start with you, Ice, and then we'll move to another person, then we'll go to you, then we'll move to another person until your whole thing is done, because as I said before, you're going to get the lion's
Right.
share of what's going to happen today. So, alright. Sergey, you wait around a bit, and eventually you see Eisen walking up to the inn.
Eisen, there you are.
Sergey, good to see you.
Indeed. It's been a good while, and I know this is going to be a bit sudden, but well, I've still been traveling with my friends, and Leviathan's Claw came up again.
They have they?
Indeed. Except this time, it's also related to guild work, and I'm afraid of what I'm going to have to ask. I know. We've split away from them for good reason, but he mutters this under his breath more quietly when emotions rise and come closer. Apparently, Leviathan's Claw has found the treasure.
You see his eyes widen and he says, No, this can't. Those
There have been
traitors,
reports.
those traitors dare find the treasure.
It's not just that, but there have been stories of fog. A lot of it. Suddenly showing up. Pokemon getting attacked in their ships. No signs after. And that's where I want to bring up potentially, well, guild work wanted us to go after them, which we're going to need a crew. And after last time, since your crew has experience with them, so I'm quite sorry to have to potentially drag them into it. And I know that maybe they won't agree, but I've got no one else to turn to.
I understand, Sergey. I truly do. At the very least, you have me.
And I quite appreciate that.
Indeed. I can't speak for the rest of the crew. Our last interaction with Leviathan's Claw was incidental. At the very least, Dana's treacherous acts have left many of us in with a sour note of them, but if we're fighting the main force of Leviathan's Claw, then it may still be a hard ask.
In this case, potentially the last.
I believe Warren will more than likely be willing to help you without too much persuading. He has grown to respect you after what you guys did for him.
Only if he's absolutely certain of it. I hate to see him getting his feet wet with that kind of business. Especially if he's not prepared for it.
Mm-hmm. I understand. As for the rest of the crew, well, I cannot speak for them. Captain Radcliffe is currently at the docks if you wish to speak with him.
I may have to. Well, I might have to. Unfortunately, as I said, I don't really know of any other crews unless I wanted to potentially. He looks out towards the docks, find ways of just hiring any seafaring folk. And that's not something I can necessarily buy loyalty.
I was just about to say myself. You may be able to certainly hire some Pokemon with the right amount of coin, but most of the Pokemon here in Seaport are... They're not made of the stern stuff like you and I. Even with the amount of money, it's possible, if the Leviathan's Claw gives them enough fear, they may turn tail and flee, or they may not be able to do the job that's needed. I could promise you, our crew, if you could convince them, we will be courageous and we will stand strong against Leviathan's Claw.
All right. That's exactly what I was hoping to hear. The rest falls on simply convincing them, which even I have my doubts about finding the right words to say.
You are a man of the seas, Sergey. I'm sure you will be able to reach out with them. I wish you luck, my old comrade.
I wish you to just... We shall see if we'll end up facing side by side, or if I have to find even the skeleton crew.
Indeed. He gives you a nod and he says, most of us will be around town. I myself will be waiting around town if you need me for anything.
All right. I'll let you know how things go after.
Very well. Okay, so you're gonna go see the captain?
Mm-hmm.
Alright. So, following Eisen's suggestions, you walk out and you see the captain where he told you the captain would be. You see the slacking standing on the docks looking out towards the sea. He seems to be actually awake this time.
I guess I'll make my way up towards the ship and sort of try to nod and get his attention. Redcliffe.
Ah, Sergey, it's been a while.
Indeed it has. I was just talking with Eisen. A bit of guild work has come up, and I'm afraid I might have to potentially ask for another favor. The only issue is, this is the kind that involves direct contact with pirates.
Radcliffe frowns for a moment, but he doesn't look like he's uninterested in hearing you out. And he says, what sort of task is it?
It involves potentially dealing with Leviathan's Claw. Maybe in a more permanent manner. And I know, after our last little encounter with them, it's a bit of an ask, but this is the sort of situation where, between the guild work, my own experience, and yours, I think that this sort of thing might actually be quite beneficial. I'm already aware of the situation going on with Leviathan's Claw around Steelport and how there have been reports of this fog, but as it stands, I'm trying to put together a crew and a plan on how to deal with them.
I see. He looks very serious when you say this. like, it's almost a stark contrast to the narcoleptic captain you're used to, and it almost looks sort of like how he was after Dana was starting to sabotage things and after the interaction with Leviathan's Claw your first time. And he says, "You understand what you're asking is a very hard ask."
Of course, it's the entire reason I talked to Eisen first. I knew this sort of thing is the kind of, well, quest even one might call that many are not going to look at and openly accept. It's one I'm asking for brave folk to come with, those that I can trust. And from our last experience, minus Dana, I've been able to find myself able to trust you and your crew.
I thank you for the flattering words, Sergei. He thinks for a moment and he says, "Before I give you my answer, I wish for you to do something.
All right.
I wish for you to go around. My crew is currently here in Steelport, all current members. I wish for you to go around and speak with each of them. Tell them what you plan and hear what they have to say. Don't necessarily... You may recruit some of them, if you wish. But beyond that, I just wish for you to tell each of them your plans. After that, come back to me and tell me what they said. And then I will give you my answer."
All right. Seems fair. Let each of them know. Determine just who's actually willing. All right. I'll do that.
Thank you. Good luck.
He nods and starts heading around the town just to look for each of the crew members.
Okay. I will, first off, I'll give you a list of the crew just so that you remember who's who and just so you can
I've still
decide.
got them written down.
Oh, you still haven't written it out too?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay, good. Then alright. I'll have you do that, but for now, we will move on to somebody else. And... Quill. Don't forget you're muted this time. So, let's move on to what Reniel is doing.
Reniel's going to spend pretty much as much time as it takes to find Aurora in town.
Quill, we can't hear you.
Your mic sounds like it's muffled.
Yeah.
How's this?
Better. Oof. Anyway,
I don't know how that came undone again.
I'm not sure either. But anyways, what's Reniel doing?
He's going to look around for Aurora again.
Okay. Give me a perception check just to see how long this takes you.
Okay. A really long time.
Okay, so you're spending most of this day looking around for her. because the dice are apparently being very bullying today.
It's not like he was going to do anything else anyway.
Fair enough. But eventually, late afternoon, you find her just walking the streets around town on her lonesome. Oddly enough, despite her being the daughter of the mayor of town, she didn't seem to be noticed or really accosted by anyone. Nobody seemed to pay her much mind. She also didn't seem to have much of a destination. She just seemed to be walking around town. She occasionally glanced at the various buildings or landmarks of the town and gave a sort of bittersweet, nostalgic expression.
Okay. Once he gets within range of her, he's going to create a telepathic connection with her, and he's going to say,
Hello, Aurora. I have been looking for you all day.
As you do that, Aurora just glances up with surprise before looking all over the place, trying to figure out where that voice came from.
and he's going to cast Minor Illusion to get her attention from a specific direction. He's going to have it say,
Over here.
Okay, and I assume that direction is where you are?
yes.
Okay, so Aurora will glance over to you, and as she does, her eyes turn to the usual cold expression she wears, and she says, "Oh, hi there. You're with that group that's going to fight those dumb pirates, right? What do you want?"
A few things, actually. Do you recognize us? A few of us have evolved since last we met.
Well, you're part of the Freelance Guild, obviously. Otherwise, should I? However, as she's asking that question, she trails off for a moment and her eyes widen with recognition. And she says, "Oh, right. That group. You're the ones that's sleeping next door and that makes all those odd noises in the night."
Indeed. I figured since we'll be working together on this assignment, I should pick your mind, non-invasively of course, to find out how much you know about what's really going on throughout Lanwell.
And it's at this point that he's going to do the exact opposite of what he just said, and he's going to cast Detect Thoughts psionically.
Subtle spell for the win. Okay. She responds with, "Excuse me, what? Like, what do you mean? What's really going on?" From what you gather through Detect Thoughts, she's clearly thinking of the tension between Caldwell and Arian, and she's aware of the possibility of a coming war, but otherwise she seems confused at your question. She's not thinking of like any of the factions or anything involving like the Ultra Beasts or anything like that.
Okay.
I'd be surprised if you haven't noticed Caldwelch and Arian are practically at each other's throats. Surely you've considered the fact that war requires organization on both sides.
I mean, I guess if it comes down to war, Arian's probably going to band under the nobility or something. I have no clue what Caldwell will do, though. They don't really have any central figures. And her mind seems to suggest that she believes this to be true.
Wouldn't it be nice if it were that simple? Unfortunately, the factions involved weave a rather intricate web that my group and I have become ensnared in. By working with us, I can't guarantee you won't be as well. These things seem to find us wherever we go. You may discover troubling things about those you previously may have trusted. Are you psychologically prepared for something like that?
She gives you this just big deadpan look and she says, "You make it sound like everyone's a double agent or something."
It has certainly been a far more common occurrence than is comfortable.
She scoffs and she says, "We're fighting pirates, not double agents of a random faction. Besides, I don't trust anyone. However, with your detect thoughts, you notice that her thoughts sort of think of the Swablu Madeline and also the leader of the Misty Gales branch, Thornton, which
The
suggests
factions
that she doesn't fully believe those words to be true that she said.
the factions are not random, Aurora. Dealing with these pirates will benefit no fewer than 2 of them. And should either of those factions' goals be realized, the results are nothing short of catastrophic. In the case of one of them, the complete collapse of civilization on Landwell as we know it.
Excuse me? She gives you a look like you're insane.
You know why I am the way I am, correct?
Not really. I just assumed you were weird for the sake of being weird.
I am a victim of an attack by an extra-dimensional Pokémon called an Ultra Beast, specifically a Nihilego. Fortunately, the particular specimen that infected me is not overtly hostile, and has, in fact, been very helpful to us as we've navigated this harsh political landscape. I am not the only victim. Others are working with their god to try to turn Lanwell into a mystery dungeon so they can have a new home since they were forcefully ejected from their own. I can prove this to you, but you will most likely find it disturbing.
Or still just giving you a "are you crazy" look, and she says, "Did you hit your head or something, or trip out on XI seats?"
He's gonna look around for a more isolated spot, like an alleyway or something.
All right, there are plenty of because this is a large city. There's plenty of alleyways and stuff like that nearby.
Okay, he's going to motion for her to follow him into one of them.
Okay, you motion for her, and she just remains there standing, looking at you.
Okay, he's gonna say,
I would prefer not to cause mass panic in an effort to prove to you my condition.
She gives you a bit of a glare, and she says, "If you try anything funny, I know how to call for the guards."
I will not harm you in any way.
She seems to consider this for a moment before finally following you and saying, "Fine."
uh, he's going to get her into the alleyway and back up about 10 feet. And once he does, the iridescence in his eyes just kind of starts to undulate a bit, like something's moving around inside of his head. And then his whiskers split open, and all of Nihiligo's tentacles come out and look at her for a little bit before sliding back into his head, and he goes back to looking his usual way.
Okay. As you do this, she takes a few steps back and looks absolutely shocked, and she says, "What the actual heck?"
Do you believe me now?
"What the heck was that?"
I told you, it is Nihilego. Do not be afraid. It is friendly.
It's also freaking creepy.
I am aware. Even so, it is better you learn about it now than find out about it later in the middle of a life or death combat. In any case, I will restate my question. Do you believe me now?
She doesn't seem to answer your question, and instead says, "And that nihil thing is related to beating those pirates? So what? We're just supposed to not?"
It is indirectly related. Defeating the pirates gives an advantage to the dominant faction here in Arian, expediting the onset of the war. The Ultra Beasts need that war to happen to draw out the Weirden tree so that their god can destroy it. But the pirates have something we need to send the Ultra Beasts back to their proper home. If we can do that, we're hoping the god will abandon this effort to destroy the tree. Unfortunately, that still leaves the war among the nations as a threat. I have not yet had time to discuss the plan of action with my teammates since so little is known about what we are dealing with.
She's still slightly is looking at you like you're crazy, and she says, "Okay, why are you telling me all this?"
Is it not easier to tell you now rather than we are surrounded by pirates and most likely assaulted by a flying Ampharos in black armor?
A flying what now?
And this is why I am telling you. Having you immobilized with confusion in a life-threatening situation is a recipe for disaster. At least now you will be aware of the possibility. Do you need a moment to process this information? There are a couple of other things I wish to discuss with you. Some will be very personal in nature, be forewarned.
Aurora sighs, and she somewhat whispers to herself, "Freaking heck, Mom. Thanks for constantly putting me around insanity." She takes a moment before she shakes her head and says, "Alright, what else do you have?"
It is rather convenient for you to mention your mother. What exactly is the story between the two of you? Why are you at odds with each other?
And he's going to recast Detect Thoughts since it's probably worn off by this point.
Okay. Are you just casting Detect Thoughts?
No, psionically.
Alright. And why is that any of your business? In her mind, you hear her think, well, it's her fault anyways.
For our mutual safety, I cannot discuss why it is any of my business. Let us simply say your mother is a very influential figure.
Pfft, yeah, I figured that one out already. Miss Mayer's always busy with works or meetings or working during meetings.
And how much do you know about what goes on in those meetings, Aurora?
That's the usual stuff. Other area nobility, influential moneymakers, the captain of the guard, whoever can increase her status. Since this is a shipping town, she also meets with the sailors occasionally as well. And in her mind, she's saying, but never her daughter. She takes meetings in the middle of the night somewhere in Steel in Steelport's Park, but she never bothers with me.
Influential figures indeed. But to circle back around, or to ask another way, I suppose, why did she send you to the guild?
She said it was to teach me responsibility or the worth of money. And you could just hear the air quotes around those. In her mind, she says, like she would know anything about how money is worth with how much she has.
Are you sure?
That's what she told me.
I think she was watching you.
Excuse me?
Call it a hunch based on what I know and you don't. I could be wrong.
And he's going to lean in slightly, and he's still speaking telepathically, and he's going to say,
But I'm telling you this for your own benefit, Aurora. Be wary of your mother and what inheritance she promises. It is more than just money, and not in a good way.
Aurora's silent for a moment. She sort of glances away from you. You hear her mind thinking quite a lot of thoughts, and she soon says basically what's on her mind. That's fine. I didn't want any part in whatever she has anyways.
Hopefully, you will understand how wise of a decision that is one day.
and then he's going to nod and just kind of sit back upright.
Now, with business out of the way, I hope you don't mind if I take a moment to touch on some interpersonal matters.
And that wasn't personal enough?
Personal from my side of the equation. Aurora, I want to apologize for how I treated you when we first met. Going out of my way to make you feel uneasy, creating unusual noises at night, exaggerating some of my more unusual qualities, that sort of thing. Because of my condition, I did not think anyone would want to be my friend, so I figured it was useless to even try. But as you can see by looking at me, that turned out not to be the case. If you can find the mercy to forgive me for my prior infractions and overlook my unusual appearance, I would like to start over and get to know you a little better.
She seems sort of stunned as you ask that. Like, out of everything that you've said, everything that's happened, this was the last thing she expected to come out of your mouth. She was so stunned that she even, for a moment, just stood there with a what sort of expression?
Renniel's just kind of gonna wait patiently for her to get her bearings and respond.
Alright, it takes a few moments, but she eventually says, "This isn't a setup for a joke, right?"
It is not. If you'd like, we could take a walk around town right now. I am sure plenty of places here have nostalgic significance to you. I would be interested in hearing about them.
Most of the places in town are bittersweet for me. But fine, I don't got anything better to do until that shift's done.
He's going to do his best to simulate a smile, and he's going to say,
Thank you.
and that's all he really wanted to discuss. At least that we can do on screen. We don't need to do the whole thing off.
Okay. Alrighty then. So, what are you going to be doing after this?
Uh, well, I guess he'd just kind of walk around town with her, and I guess listen to what she tells him, and if she's interested, he'd tell her about his backstory and a couple of the adventures that they've gone on. He and his group, like Maury, uh, going to Dawnsbury, and that sort of thing. Nothing that would give her any sort of classified information. Uh, and then he'd probably try to buy her dinner too.
Interesting. Alright. She'd probably, for the most part, she'd listen. And in terms of buying dinner, she'd probably insist both of you pay, but. Alright, so.
And he's not going to. He's not going to refuse that.
Okay. Alright. I guess that pretty much covers you for the day, so, back to you, Sergey.
Yep.
Alright, so. Who among the crew are you gonna try finding first?
Let's see here. Uh, Probably Huntley.
Probably Huntley.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So yeah, you walk around town for a bit and you see Huntley. He's busy sort of helping out with some of the shipping containers in the warehouses.
All right. As Sergey walks up, he sort of just gives a cough and then, yeah, Huntley, is it you?
Sergey, it's been a while.
It is. I'm currently looking around for the rest of your crew alongside you. I've recently spoken with Radcliffe. Potential work has come up, and I talked it over with him. So now I'm here to talk with you and eventually the rest. It's well, I'll at least just put it out there. It's going to involve Leviathan's Claw again.
Leviathan's Claw. You mean directly?
Mm. Much more directly than last time. Some things have come up, and it's a bit more guild work involving them, but well, he thinks of how to word this. There are a few things that I'm still trying to think of best how to explain this, but I'm looking for a crew to potentially go and deal with them directly and maybe finally put this area to some real safety.
And you're asking for us.
I didn't exactly have anyone else to ask, and as I saw, I feel I can trust your crew, not to mention just the way that your crew managed to you and the rest of the crew managed to handle things. Minus our little issues with Dana.
Pirates don't particularly scare me. I don't want to necessarily fight against them, but I'm also not terribly afraid of them, but at the same time, I have no love for the idea of going directly against them. We have among the crew have managed to form a strong bond with each other, and while I have the strength to hold off many of their men, as I'm sure you're well aware, there's a strong possibility of death coming.
Unfortunately, it's a very real risk with a pirate crew like the Leviathan's Claw.
I'm not personally afraid of death. He looks around for a second, he says, don't tell anyone, but the Caldwell Coliseums that are known in the black marketplaces, the ones where they fight to the death, I used to fight in them myself. I'm no stranger to having life or death fights, but it's the rest of the crew, the more younger members, who have not put their lives on the line so much that worries me personally.
It's also my concern. I've already talked with Eisen, and he's said that Warren would apparently be not against that sort of thing, but I'm actually unsure of how I feel about the kids coming along.
I'm not sure how I feel about it either. As for me myself, if the captain tells us to sail out, then I will go with you.
All right.
But
I really do appreciate that.
You're welcome. But just understand the weight of what you're asking.
I've already had to give it quite a bit of thought. Both Eisen and I already are familiar enough with Leviathan's Claw. We know what they're capable of.
Okay. Captain will likely tell me of your decision later on. When will this happen, by the way?
We're looking at 2 days from now. It is quite a short notice.
I see. Very well. The captain will likely tell me of his decision before too long, and I will then... Either we will see you then, or I will not. Either way, so long as you understand, I have not much else to say on the matter.
He nods. All right. I guess I've got more work to do then to go look for the rest.
Okay, you do that.
And with that, he heads out again.
Okay. Who are you going to be going for next then?
This is gonna... I could either work my way down the list or...
I mean, your list is probably in a different order than my list, but fair enough.
See, I'm here twice. Whoops. This is Irwin.
Irwin. Okay.
Mhm.
All right. So you go out, you look for Irwin, and you eventually find him and Niall are both basically playing a game, betting a bit of coin in sort of a tavern area. So you see both the Dark Linoon and the Girder together playing a bit of a game.
All right.
Anyways, are you, to expedite things, sorry for interrupting, are you basically going to sort of introduce what's going on in the same way with everyone?
Pretty much, though. I guess for flavor here, I'd actually walk up first, asking if they could deal me in.
Okay. Fair enough. All right. They deal you in. How much coin are you going to be putting into the pile?
I guess like for the sake of this, how about like 20 gold?
Okay. You put 20 gold in the pile, and it looks like there's a total of 60 in the pot.
All right.
We'll go to the game itself later, but for now, you introduce sort of what's going on. You tell them about how you're facing Leviathan's Claw because of guild work and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And Niall and Irwin sort of both look to each other, and Irwin says, "You're serious? You're going straight after? Dang, you guys have guts." But Niall says, "And you want us to join, huh?"
Yep, as far as I've seen, your crew's been one I could actually stand with, and well, I trust all of you.
Niall thinks for a moment as the game goes on, and give me a deception check to bluff your hand. And then roll me insight to see how well you're able to read the others.
How the heck do we roll these? This is 20 plus. Yeah. Okay, deception was a 17, and then insight.
Yep, then insight.
16.
Oh wow. Okay, so you're doing pretty decent at this game. But anyways, as it goes on, Niall says, you know, for the most part, I am a bit of a gambler at heart. I love a good game. But one thing I've never particularly cared for gambling with is my own life. I'll put all the coin I want up for the game, because coin can be reclaimed or can be gotten anew, but gambling my life on a battle like this is definitely something I'm not too keen on, to be entirely honest.
That's understandable. I don't think most Pokemon in any circumstance would really want to gamble that sort of thing away, but in our case, I guess this is less looking at gambling and more at he sits there and thinks for a moment.
As you do that, Erwin asks, why do you want to go after them? Is it just guild work for you? Is there something more?
Is it that obvious? Admittedly, there's a bit more. I don't know if you're at all familiar with my history with Eisen, but he and I have a shared history with Leviathan's Claw when it comes to just them and how they've affected our lives. In my case, I guess there's a bit of a part of me that wants revenge. But he chuckles and just sits there. Sometimes it's quite hard to find the words to explain what it is I feel about Leviathan's Claw, but revenge is a bit of a motivator, admittedly. But there is a real issue of safety with them around.
Are they the ones that's been attacking all the ships?
Indeed. A very aggressive bunch. It used to not be that way, but things changed as we've seen. And all of a sudden, the crew started to prove to be a real danger on the sea, and that's why the guild actually sent us out here.
Now thinks for a moment and he says, alright, I've come to a decision. Beat me in this game, and you may consider me part of your crew to take them down.
Only if you're certain you want to take that bet.
I normally don't like to gamble with my life, but I also will ask for a cut of whatever treasure they have on them.
Understandable. And I think that's a pay anyone could agree on. When
Alright.
taking down a group of pirates, I think it's only fair that the crew that gets to take them down gets all the share of the treasure.
I like the sound of that. Okay, Sergey, let's continue. So, give me another deception and another insight. You're
All right.
currently ahead in the game.
20 plus 2. That's an 18 for deception.
Oh, wow.
Or 20 plus 3. Oh, a 9 for insight.
Okay, so you seem to be, you don't seem to really get a good read on them, but they're definitely struggling to get a read on you. And yeah, you seem to be winning pretty heavily, and advantage is yours. Give me one more of both of the checks, and if you do good on this one, then you've won the pot.
All right. Deception 19. Oh my gosh.
You are being very good at deception today.
Oh, that's not how you roll that. 20 plus 3. 16.
Okay, so you get a really good hand, and you manage to raise it up and up until you win this hand, and you basically steal the entire pot. So you put in 20 gold, and you came out with 60 gold, and you've won.
Oh. Who would have thunk all those games I played back as a kid actually come to fruit and bear it? I don't know.
Now
I'm never the best when it comes to analogies.
Now gives a chuckle and says, well, I gambled it, and you won. Very well. My life is yours. Just remember, a life isn't something that you can take back if it's lost.
Of course. I'm not going to treat this like any amount of card game. There's a lot more at stake here. I'm
And
glad, though, that you are willing to go along with this. It means a lot that the crew thus far is willing to work with me.
And Erwin says, all right, if Niall's there, then I'll be going too.
You guys are on a nod. Just feel I should state. I'm going to make sure I can get any Pokemon out of this that I can.
That's nice to hear.
Learned a lot in my time working with the guild, and I think it's very fair to say I'm going to make sure that we get out of this safe, and I'm going to make sure that the Leviathan Squall pays.
I'll hold you to that.
And so he'll take his earnings, and I guess we'll just sort of continue down the list.
All right, but first, Harold.
Yes.
Okay, so you're heading off to get some scrolls and ink to scribe some spells, correct?
Correct.
As you're walking, give me a perception check.
Let's see here. $12.
Okay, so you're walking through the market, sort of getting some stuff, and as you're walking, you notice out of the corner of your eye that the mayor is out and about in town, and she surprisingly seems to have no guards.
I'm going to. Yeah, I think I'm going to like duck behind a corner real quick. I am going to cast Enhance Ability on myself to give myself advantage on dexterity checks.
Okay.
And I'm going to see if I can follow her. Are there any like bits of trash or anything on the side? So basically what I'm thinking I want to do is, as I go, just periodically use Minor Illusion to basically pull the cardboard box trick as I'm following her.
You find like a random trash bag or something like that, yeah.
Well, no, so what I mean is if there's stuff lying around that I can blend in with,
Oh,
so that when I put an illusion around myself, I blend in with stuff rather than just sticking out like a sore thumb.
okay, yeah, there's plenty of, due to it being a large city, yeah, there's plenty of like random trash along the roads, and there's plenty of places to blend in or sort of hide.
Okay.
But yeah, alright, if you are going to be following her, then give me a stealth check with advantage because of enhance ability.
We'll just do 20. That is going to be a 15.
Okay. And lucky you, she rolled garbage on her perception. Okay, so you fall behind her using your enhanced ability and using minor illusion to sort of help. And she does seem to be constantly looking over her shoulder and actively looking around, you notice. And eventually, you see her walking into this sort of park area.
Okay.
Are you going to continue following her?
Oh, it's not like just a wide open area where I can observe her from a distance.
Give me a perception check if you want to find a good spot to sort of... Or give me perception or survival if you want to find a good spot to observe her from a distance.
It's working on it. The application did not respond.
Okay,
Cool.
yeah, that happened to me too. Parser sometimes works, sometimes doesn't. So you might have to use a var. The dice notation is !R.
17.
Okay, yeah, you easily find a nice looking hill that you think would overlook most of the park that you can rush over to keep watch over her.
Okay.
Alright. So you go to the top of the hill and you watch her. Estes seems to she keeps looking around. She does seem to be specifically making sure that she's alone. And eventually you see her going to some what looks like ancient broken down ruins. Like there may have once been like a house or maybe even a castle there, but it's ruined now. There's not even a roof. There's fragments of walls and stuff like that. And she walks to the side of one of the broken sort of quote unquote doors or doorway, sort of archways that you'd imagine a door would have been previously. She takes out her badge, she takes out what looks to be a badge and places it against the wall there, and as she does, you see it sort of glow. And
Can I tell what kind of badge it is she's using?
from this distance, give me perception. Yes, you can. The badge does not appear to be similar to any badge like the Freelance Guilds or anything like that. It seems to be custom made with a particular design on it, and that design itself, actually, you see her drawing into the side of the wall. It's sort of a star-shaped design. And as she finishes drawing this star, you see the doorway glow, and an entrance appears. From this entrance, there are two B-sharp guards, and she seems to be talking with them for a moment before you see them speak and glow as they appear to be casting some sort of magic before they're looking over her shoulder and around. Do you want to try and identify what they're doing?
Yes.
Roll me Arcana.
Ooh, I'm actually good at this.
Oh gosh. Okay, yeah, you absolutely know what they're doing. based on the magic, sort of a glow in their eyes and how they're moving, you know that what they're doing is they're casting True Sight to make sure that she doesn't have anybody invisible invisible trying to tail her or anything like that.
Okay.
And after looking around, they speak to her a moment. She nods and she walks through the doorway. As soon as she does, the doorway disappears. Both the B-Sharp and her disappear, and the ruins look just like an ordinary ruins again.
Okay. Yeah, trying to go in there on my own is a death wish, so I am not going to follow further. I'm going to wait for a bit to reduce the odds that somebody is watching me. And I'm going to file this information away for later and go back to what I was going to do.
Okay. Alrighty. So yeah, you go back into town, you buy your ink from a Sylveon vendor and your scrolls as well, and you can scribe some spell scrolls. What are you exactly going to be scribing?
Wrathful Smite.
Okay. Do you have the money for it?
Yes, I already deducted it from my total.
Okay. Alright, then, yeah, I say you can do that, and that's basically what you're going to be spending the rest of your day doing?
Yep.
Okay. Cool. Alright, then yeah, that's what you do. So, Sergey, back to you again. If you're trying to speak ice, you're muted.
Oh, sorry.
It's fine.
Yep. Sorry, just a thing going on in the background at the same time, which just happened to be the worst time. Apologies.
It's fine. Anyways, so who are you going after next?
Let's see. So it was Erwin and Niall. Lee, what guys, and there's just Phelps, Oda, Westcott, and Warren left.
Yep.
Okay, let's go with Phelps.
Okay. You walk through town a bit longer, and you see both Phelps and Westcott, actually. Both the Glasscore and Star Avi are perched on a roof, sort of just people watching. Phelps seems to be extremely tired, because as you remember, he was sort of the night watch, while Westcott was the day watch, but they both seem to be just perched people watching for now.
Right.
Before we skip ahead to the hey, we're doing stuff against Leviathan's Claw and all that, are you gonna how are you flavor wise gonna be talking with them? Are you gonna climb up onto the roof to meet with them, or are you gonna call them down?
I'm gonna climb up to talk with him.
Okay. All right, so yeah, there is a lot of this episode on roofs. All right, so yeah, you climb up to the roof, and you introduce yourselves and tell both of them, hey, this is what I'm doing. And Phelps gives a yawn. He says, all right, sure, whatever. But not where Westcott goes, hey, wait, whoa, hold on for a second. You're saying what now? Leviathan's Claw? Like, guild work and all, I get that, but are you insane?
Trust me, I've had a bit of time to think over it. I know what I'm asking. It's a crew that I've already had a history with when it comes to just what they've done and what they will do, which is why we're going after them in the first place. Now, I've already talked with quite a few of the others, and thus far, all of them thus far have been willing to go with me, but I've already made the promise. If we go through with this, I'm going to be doing my best to try to keep everyone safe. And I mean that.
Westcott says, "Well, man, that's quite the promise." He shakes Phelps awake so that he is able to be alert, and Phelps says, "Huh. Well, I can't say you wouldn't need us, considering they're probably going to be employing flyers themselves, so you're going to need us to protect the sales."
It's not just that, though. From what's been going around, they've been using something that's producing a gigantic fog cloud. So, lookouts might not be as... Actually, what am I saying? Of course, lookouts will be more than important. Getting an early warning on them.
Ugh, something tells me I'm going to need to be awake during the day if you do that. Antony says, "Man, didn't think when I joined the sailor life I'd be fading pirates," and Westcott goes, "Yeah, same."
Trust me. All the lives we've lived, I don't think anyone would even remotely be ready for what actually ends up being asked of them. Like me, joining in the guild life only to be right back here.
Yeah, life is funny like that, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Phelps takes a breath and he says, "Well, if you could get the
Alright.
captain to approve, then, I suppose I'll go. Though, man, this is definitely not my ideal situation, but I suppose they're using the weather and attacking ships, so I can't just let that go either, especially not after what Dana did and her relation to them."
Right. Still a shame what happened with Dana.
Yeah, she was such a good part of the crew. We all knew her, she knew us. Can't believe she seriously just betrayed him just because she was bored.
Not even really that good of a reason. Boredom for... I've heard of some reasons to betray one's crew, but that one's up there.
Do you think she might have had another reason?
Maybe. I've never really given it thought, but actually bringing it up now, I don't know if boredom really was the only thing. She mentioned potentially being paid, but there must have been something else.
Makes you wonder, doesn't it?
It really does.
Huh. Wonder if we'll learn that. Learn maybe why she did it.
Here's hoping.
Alright, well, I'm same as Phelps, I guess. If the captain agrees and needs us, and if you need us, then sure. I'll help out too.
He gives them both a nod. I guess I'll keep a lookout for all the rest then. Probably going to take a look for Oda next.
Oh, Odin should be back on the ship. Last I saw, she's still swabbing it.
All right. And what about Warren?
Oh, I haven't seen Warren in a bit. He's probably somewhere in town if I had to guess, though, considering how shy he is. Actually, no. Considering how shy he is, he's probably not in town. He's probably also back on the ship just hiding out.
Right. Given his story, it would make sense he wouldn't really want many Pokemon seeing him.
Mm-hmm. So, you'll probably find both of them on the ship.
Guess that's where I'm headed next.
Alright. See you around, Sergey. And
He gives him-
Phelps also yawns as he says, "See ya."
He gives them both a nod and then starts climbing his way back down, now in the direction of the ship.
Alright. So, you head over to the port. You pass by the captain who gives you permission to head out on the ship, and he gives you a nod, and you see Oda there on the top, and as usual, she seems to be cleaning off the deck with a mop. Unfortunately, there's no Eevee around to use absorb elements to soak up the water and create a cup of dirty deck water.
Oh my gosh. Don't say that, you'll summon him. Well, he ends up walking up to Oda. Ah, there you are. I'm still just looking for most of the rest of the crew, so it's going to be a bit of a sudden ask, but at this point he'll just go into explaining the situation with Oda.
Oh, going after Leviathan's claw, huh?
Mm-hmm. Radcliffe wanted me to ask everyone in the crew.
Well, honestly, I don't really care either way, to be honest.
Huh. It's certainly one way to go about things. He gives a small chuckle. You're certain you don't want to think of something like this over? It's a situation I don't think many will take lightly.
Honestly, I've been around the block so much that a lot of things just don't really matter to me anymore. We go fight Leviathan's Claw, whether we don't, and I just continue swapping the deck tomorrow. None of it really bothers me. I've been around life for long enough that it is what it is.
Well, he just kind of stops with Oda's sentiment on this. It's certainly not the response I was expecting, given what I've been talking with everyone else. Most of really made me talk with them about the dangers going into this. But well, if you're simply just going with the flow, then he seems a little more confused, I guess, by Oda's response, just given how Oda's not really pushing back on this. Huh.
don't be too surprised. Like I said, it's just how I've always been. Just how I've been after sort of experiencing things. Sometimes you just gotta go with the flow. Accept what's about to happen or not. Whether I live or die even doesn't too terribly matter to me. I'll just follow what everyone else wants to do and go from there.
It's certainly an attitude about it. I guess in that case, Radcliffe will let you know. I've just got one last Pokemon to talk to.
Alright. Good luck. And she goes back to just swapping.
And I guess he's gonna go look for Warren.
Alright.
Probably below deck.
Alright, while you do that, we'll move on to the final of the Not You players. So, Eugene. So, what are you doing on this day?
My first plan was to go to the tavern where, probably one close to the dock anyway, where most of the sailors head out. And before I go there, I'm going to turn my glamored armor into kind of a little sailor outfit and maybe pull a sailor hat from my forgery or a disguise kit. So I probably kind of look like a Cyndaquil Donald the Duck right now. Donald Duck right
I can't do a good Donald voice. Okay.
now.
Alright, so you walk into the bar, you see a number of sort of rowdy patients and bulky Pokemon. You imagine a lot of them to be sailors. And as you walk into the bar, you see a Gossifleur walk up to you and say, welcome to the Salty Spittoon. How tough are you?
Is it the same one that I know?
She looks different, but give me investigation check.
Okay. A 15.
You're reasonably sure that the differences on her seem to be a disguise, but you're not 100% sure. And she's talking in a sort of Southern Belle accent. So you think this might be or at least you think this might be a Gossifleur disguised as a different Gossifleur, but you're not entirely 100% certain.
Mm. I say, yeah. I just wanted to sit down here and have a hard drink.
Sonny, I'm pretty sure you're like not old enough to drink.
Um. That's why I live on the edge of a knife, and rules don't apply to me.
I don't know what I want you to have give me exactly. I'm trying to figure it out. Give me just give me general charisma to try to.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just give me a general charisma check to see if she's buying your sort of character you're building for yourself.
Okay. Just charisma?
Yeah. Uh
Performance, maybe?
oh yeah, performance. I'll say you could add your performance modifier to that if you have any.
Well, that would be 0.
Okay. So you try walking in at the rough and tumble pirate, but you're clearly playing against the type, and she sort of rolls her eyes and she says, listen, kid, I don't think this place is the right place for you.
Well, Would you suggest I go to the mountains in the northwest then?
She pauses as you say that and looks to you, and she says, "Oh, well, wouldn't you know it, Sonny? You're our 1000th customer. Come with me for your prize."
This wasn't at all what I was planning to do when I got here, but I'll go along with it.
I know this wasn't, but I sometimes like to
Yeah.
throw you curveballs.
Oh, yeah. Okay, fine. I mean, yeah, you darn well better give me a prize.
All right. She takes you in back, and once you're both alone, she looks to you and she says, "All right, you know who I am and I know who you are, huh?"
Yeah, what are you doing here?
Eh, keeping an eye on the purge, or at least trying to learn as much about the purge as I can.
Hmm. Know who you work with now, by the way. Or working for.
You guys get information way too fast.
Well, that's assuming the fact you trust me. I could just be lying right now.
Like I said, the boss likes you, but at the same time, I suppose you could be. Any case, yeah, that's why I'm here. I'm not here to do anything in particular, just try and keep an eye on the purge, see if there's any activity going on here. Maybe learn what I can about them. Right now, the boss wants us to be as passive as possible, but even if we're passive, still gotta figure out what we can.
And well, if you're hanging around this place, do you know anything about the pirates that have been plaguing the seas?
Oh, yeah, Leviathan's Claw. CILS hired them. They're granted they also have some other thing they're there for, some sort of treasure or something. I wasn't really informed of that, but CLS hired them to raise heck around here and cut into the shipping industry that Steelport relies on to sap the purge of as much funds as possible.
You know anything about that group? I mean, Leviathan's Claw, do you know anything about that particular crew?
Not a thing. That's not my jurisdiction in CLS in any case. And they're certainly not going to tell me anything I don't need to know. But if you're here for information, there is a survivor of one of their attacks.
Ooh.
Mighty Anna out there. He's a little bandaged up. Goes by the name of Carlos. You might need to put on some charm and do a bit of persuading, but I'm sure he could tell you all you need to know about his experience at the very least.
What's this guy like? Is he into would he give to bribing or intimidation
Eh,
or the good cop routine?
I'd say slip him a bit of gold and he'll probably speak. He hasn't sailed the seas since he ended up being a victim of those pirates, so he's a bit low on coin. Frankly, if you ask me, he shouldn't even be in here spending it on the booze we have, but eh, you know how it is. Some people just have terrible spending habits.
Yeah.
But yeah, throw a little coin his way or maybe buy him a nice drink and you'll get him to sing.
So I'm just wondering where you fit all in all this.
What do you mean by
No,
that?
you don't. I don't know. For some reason, I don't believe for a second that you. I just think you have some sort of ulterior motive.
For being here? No, I explained exactly why I'm here.
No. For working with your organization.
Do I?
Hmm? I think so.
Give me insight.
Okay.
Oh,
25.
oh wow. Okay, so as you say that, she tries to sort of hide it under a air of just not caring, but you notice she has a bit of a, not to steal a line from explorers, but you notice that she's hiding the faintest of smiles.
Hmm. Yeah. That should invest into a better ring because it's not really covering for it.
Well, it's not like it matters to you right now, does it? You've got more important things.
Yeah, possibly.
Well, you better get on that.
Yeah, see you around.
Alright. Oh, but one more thing before you go. Have you happened, since you guys are such great information gatherers, do you have any information on the Purge?
Yes.
Oh,
You expect me to share that?
well played. But, oh, interesting. So, Eugene, are you wearing a ring of mind shielding?
I am.
Ooh, nice. Okay. She looks to you, and for a moment, she seems to be particularly annoyed, but she removes that just as quickly and she says, "Oh, very well. You know it would be very helpful for you to share that, but if you don't, you won't. I did give you some information, though, that you needed."
Well, let's just say I didn't even share this information with your boss. What makes you think I'd share it with you? You gave me the information.
Touche. You play an interesting game there, Eugene. Very well. I suppose I'll
No.
take the loss for now.
All right.
Ta-ta.
Bye. All right. I'm gonna go look for this Carlos character.
Alright. Well, it's not too difficult to do, but eventually you do notice a bit of an injured Mariana sitting at a table alone. Seems to be having his fill of some sort of strange green drink.
Yeah. Is he sitting alone?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna sit next to him or across from him, I guess. What's with the long face?
We want, kid.
Oh, I'm apprentice sailor Donald Sailor. I was fortunately born into this name.
Give me a frickin' sec. Oh my gosh. He says, well, you picked a bad time to be an apprentice if you are.
Oh yeah, I've heard there's been a lot of trouble on the seas with the pirates.
Yeah, there's been trouble and then some. You better find a new profession, kid. Stay out of this.
Well, I'm really ambitious, sir.
Ambition will get you killed out there.
Well, it's worth trying. A lot of the well-paying jobs will get you killed, so yeah, the way I see it, you just got to pick one of them that you're most comfortable with.
And you're comfortable getting your hull, getting the hull of your ship shattered, and having to barely survive as everyone behind you is drowned.
Well, I could do that and join the Freelance Guild where I could be constantly put on the edge of a knife every day and almost die every day and sent out into ancient ruins where I may never be heard from again. I think I'll take the sailing.
Fair enough. I guess there ain't any good profession nowadays. Then again, I hear they're recruiting soldiers, but that's another job. That's probably good as getting yourself killed.
What well, it sounds like you had a really bad experience. What happened, if I may ask?
That ain't none of your business, kid.
Well, you seem pretty down on your luck. I could buy you. Well, I'm a little too young to buy a drink for myself, so I could possibly give you the money to buy a drink.
He looks to you a moment. He says, "All right, pay for a drink, and I suppose I'll tell you my story. But I'm gonna warn you, kid. After hearing about it, you'll wish you never sailed these seas."
Well, it's good to learn through experience. Well, secondhand experience, I guess, in this case. But yeah, I wave over someone and I give him the gold for a drink.
Okay. All right. So you pay 1 gold for the drink, and after taking a sip, he says, "Well, we are a merchant vessel, like many others. We were just sailing off to the east as usual to sell our stuff and gain riches from the foreign lands, but suddenly this giant fog appears, makes it impossible to see anything out there. It's all ominous, and before you know it, suddenly you've got dozens of flyers just going after your sail. You've got a bunch of Carvana and Sharpedos surrounding your hull, and you got a bunch of pirates on your ship all there to catch and sabotage it. And then before you know it, you got cannon fire surrounding you. Pretty sure from 3 different ships. And once your ship's basically useless, you get a boarding party. And they're everywhere. There's so many of them. And they kill everyone who can and take whatever they can before they sink your ship for good. And if you think you can leave in lifeboats, well, you can't. Not unless you're lucky in any case, cause those Carvana and Sharpedo, they'll tear apart your lifeboats and they'll get a snack out of whoever tries to escape. I was lucky and managed to sail off in a piece of driftwood, but the rest of everyone else, they didn't make it.
I'm sorry to hear that. Um, this fog, did it appear the wind did anything to it? Did it appear to be disturbed or unsettled by the wind, or did it seem to be immune to that?
Uh, It looked like the wind affected it a little, yeah.
Hmm.
Of course, there wasn't a strong enough wind for it to do anything. But yeah, the fog seemed to move and quiver with the wind. I doubt they'd attack if there was a strong enough wind for that fog to blow away.
Yeah. And did there appear to be any leaders, notably the captain of whoever Leviathan's Claw is, or the just the strike teams and raiding parties? Is there appear to be someone in charge?
From what I remember, the raiding parties each had their own sort of leader, but I didn't notice anyone who seemed to be in charge. I thought it was odd because I was expecting someone big, large, and in charge, something like that, but there wasn't anybody like that.
Hmm. The ones leading the teams, you said you saw someone in charge of those?
Yeah, each team had its own sort of leader, so to speak.
Do you kind of identify them? I want to look out for them when I'm, out there on the open seas.
I mean, the fog's gonna probably stop you from seeing them, but fair enough. One was a Delcatty, one was a B sharp, and one was, oh, what was the name of it? It's that one Pokemon that like Inteleon, that's it. And one was Inteleon.
Was the Delcatty female?
No, that Delcatty was a dude. Pretty sure in any case. It's kind of hard to tell with Delcatty, but pretty
Hmm.
sure he was a dude.
Oh, okay. And I know this might be a shot in the dark, but did you know of any structural weaknesses to the vessels that were carrying them?
I barely got to see any of their vessels with all the fog.
Hmm.
So I don't know. I mean, they probably might be, but with the fog, it was impossible to tell.
And just a few more questions. From what angle did they attack from first? Did they attack you from behind, or I guess that would be.
Uh, for
Oh,
the way the flyers were, they're in front of us, to our left and to our right, the three of them.
and while they were attacking, did the rabble seem intelligent, or did they just seem like a bunch of lawless idiots? Were they organized, or did it just kind of seem chaotic?
It seemed chaotic. It was really weird, actually. I think some of them, they had large numbers, but they seemed to be almost mindlessly acting, almost sort of, have you ever been in a mystery dungeon, kid?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's sort of like, you know how if you're attacked by a whole bunch of those weird ferals in there?
Yes.
It's sort of like that. They didn't really their leaders were intelligent, and they had a few members that were intelligent, but a lot of the rabble were attacked like mindless ferals almost. I mean, they can't be because we ain't in a mystery dungeon, but
Did you, by any chance, see I know this is a weird question, but did you see a red rock at any time during that attack?
Red, red. He thinks about it and he says, I didn't see a red rock, but I think on each of their ships there was a red glow.
Where?
I don't know relative to their ships, but somewhere near the middle below the deck.
Well, I think that actually, I think I might reconsider uh, the life that I was dreaming of.
Yeah,
You may be right.
you're better off doing so, kid.
Um, Thank you for helping me. What was your name again?
Carlos.
Carlos. Yeah. Thank you. You were more help than you think.
Yeah, stay out of this life, kid. Stay out of it.
And I give him 10 more gold.
Whoa, you don't have to do that, kid.
Well, let's just say, if you want revenge, come to the modest looking hotel 2 days.
He looks to the gold, he looks to you, and he seems shocked for a moment, but he eventually nods.
Anyway, I'm off to play with jacks and balls or whatever kids do.
Alright. See ya, or whatever.
I'm gonna leave.
Okay. Alright. So, after that, what do you plan on doing next?
I'm gonna go visit the penitentiary or jailhouse or wherever we dropped off those bandits.
You dropped them off at the guard station, but by now they'd probably be put in like a jailhouse, yeah.
Yeah.
So, you go to the jailhouse and you see this watchdog who says, are you still wearing your sailor outfit when you're going there?
I've probably changed back to my normal self, but I wouldn't have done that unless you said something. So let's just roll with it. I'm still in the sailor outfit.
I mean, you could still change back, but fair enough. Okay, so Sailor Donald Sailor, you walk over and you see the warden of this place, a watchdog. He looks down to you and he says, "Oh, were you no sailor around here?"
Just a minute. I disappear. I like walk away, like go in a foam, like it's like Superman. I go like behind a corner, then come back in my normal outfit.
Oh, Clark Kent, it's you. You just missed Superman.
Yeah.
Okay, so you do that, and he says, "Oh, you're the guild member, Eugene, correct?
Yeah.
Do you have a
We.
twin brother?"
Yeah.
Oh, well, your twin was just here, but he ran off.
Oh, really? I think I just have that kind of face in general too.
Oh, well, anyways, what brings you here?
I actually wanted to speak with those bandits we dropped off and potentially leave them in my care. My
Leave them
group's
in
care.
your care.
I want to talk to them first, basically.
All right. Suppose there's nothing against that specifically. All right. He nods and he walks you over to where they're staying. The Hitmontop, the Armaldo, the Cranidos, and the Minen, they were all given cells next to each other.
And I'm going to just kind of walk in the middle of the aisle. So I'm probably in their view.
Okay, they see you, and the Hitmontop says, "Oh, what are you doing here?"
Look, I know you probably don't like me, but do you
Understatement
understand?
of the century.
But do you understand why we did what we did?
Why you did what do you mean, why you did what you did?
Why we stopped you and brought you here?
'Cause we're bandits and we're evil. Who?
Well, I don't think you guys are lawless bandits. You sounded like you're just a group of people trying to survive. And that's why you did what you did, right? No options left at the end of your rope?
The Hitmontop remains silent for a moment, and so does the Cranidos, but you hear a rumble coming from the Minen who, he looks away from you, but he says, "Yeah, we're really hungry, and food's becoming harder and harder to come by as it gets more and more expensive."
I go into my bag and I give an apple to each of them. I know you want more, but hopefully this is good enough for now while I'm here.
Uh, the Hitmontop and Armaldo seem hesitant, but the Cranidos and Minen immediately take the apples and begin consuming it.
How many of them are there?
There's 4 in total.
Yeah.
If you mean in terms of the bandits, there's 4 in total.
Yeah, all right. Well, if you're willing to hear me out, I'm here to offer you another option. One for a good cause where you needn't resort to banditry. An option you could be proud of.
And
Are
the
you
Hitmontop
interested?
says, "We're listening."
My group and I, the ones we fought on that roadside, we're going to be taking on a group of pirates called the Leviathan's Claw. And let's just say we need a crew and we're, if we have more numbers, it would be better. Now, I doubt you guys picked up skills overnight to attack that merchant. And pirates, well, as far as I can tell, they're just bandits in water. So I think we could use your assistance and your sets of skills.
They all seem to be silent for a moment, mulling over that. The Hitmontop and Armaldo have finally started actually eating their apple, but they're trying to do it subtly to pretend that they're not enjoying it, even though it's clear that this is the first full food they've had in such a long time. And the Crinodo says, "I'm in." before the Hitmontop says, no, wait, okay, you want us to fight dangerous pirates? That requires a compensation, so, we can agree, we just, we require food.
I can indeed, I can probably one up that because we've been informed the pirates have a large stash of treasure. There's one jewel in particular that we require, but if you work with us, I promise to give you guys a cut of the treasure we do find. This should solve your problem. Steelport will not forget your names as a bunch of trailside brigands, but revere your name and remember of them as heroes toppled over the plague of the seas. And I know your families are the families you're probably trying to feed be more proud knowing their food came from valor and heroics rather than misdeeds and unlawful acts.
Hitmontop frowns, but he says, I can't argue with that. If you can get us out of here and get us to actually be able, then yeah, we'll help, I guess.
Okay. Thank you. I promise I'm not lying to you.
If you are, it ain't exactly like we've got any other thing we can do. This is more or less all we've got. Got to do something to feed our families back home, and I ain't gonna be rotting in this place.
Okay. Thank you. I'll go talk to the guard now.
All right. So you go back to the watchdog, and he says, "Did you enjoy your talk?"
Yeah. So I require those four. I'm taking on a mission. I need a crew. They're a crew.
He looks at you for a moment and he says, "Well, they're I can't. You are a member of the Freelance Guild, so that isn't a horribly tall ask, but that's still a little bit of a thing. Uh, we can't let them out right away, I suppose. They may take this opportunity to run off."
Oh, well, I need them in 2 days.
All right, I'll
Wait,
ask the mayor about it, see if she'll agree to it, and if so, then we'll situate him on the ship we're building, and once it's ready, you'll see him there.
all right, was it 2 days from yesterday or 2 days from this morning?
It was 2 days from yesterday.
Okay, so it's only 1 day then.
Yeah.
So reiterate that as only I need them in a day.
All right. I understand.
All right.
Talk with Aurora the moment she gets back from her meeting.
Me and
Sorry,
Estessa.
not Aurora, Estes, the moment she gets back from her meeting.
She went to a meeting?
I mean, she is the mayor. What did you think? She just sits around doing nothing all day?
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Alright. Well, go along, kid. I'm sure you still got plenty to do.
Okay. So, oh, were you gonna say something?
Oh, no, I was going to ask if there's anything else you wanted to do today.
I wanted to go buy that invisibility potion and go to the mayor's office.
Interesting. Okay, are you sure about that? Okay. Okay. So, you go to the shop. You buy yourself the potion of invisibility and you're going to consume it and go to the mayor's office.
I'm gonna look around were there windows in that room?
Uh there was a window, yes.
Was there a fireplace and a chimney?
There was not. There is no chimney incident.
Okay, I want to. Oh man. You know, this makes it more exciting. Let's do it. I'm gonna go there. You can drink the invisibility potion.
Okay, and you're going to walk through and go to the mayor's office.
Yes.
Okay, well, you walk into the building just fine. Doesn't seem to be anything anything to stop you, and you eventually reach the mayor's office. I mean, there were Pokemon around the building, to be specific, but as you were invisible, nobody particularly noticed you, and they weren't searching for you in the first place. But yeah, you have made it to the mayor's office.
Okay. Or is there?
Well, you've made it to the door to the mayor's office in any case.
Okay, I'm going to look around it, see if there's any runes or triggers that would set off an alarm.
Roll investigation.
Uh, 13.
You
I'm gonna pump 5 luck points into that.
oh boy. Well, I gave them to you. Okay, so you look around and you notice that, yes, there does appear to be an alarm on her door, and it's very sneaky too because it is actually specifically on the lock of the door. So it's very
Uh,
hard to see in the first place, and it's mostly there, not in case anybody tries to open the door, but in case anybody tries to specifically pick and unlock the door.
okay, so using my thieves' tools, can I disarm that rather than pick the lock?
No, because it is magic, and I'm pretty sure the Thieves' Tool cannot disarm magic traps.
Hmm. Okay. I'm going to knock on the door
You knock on.
very loudly.
Oh, I think I know what you're getting at. Okay. You loudly knock on the door, and obviously from inside you don't get anybody, but eventually you see a Torterra walking up. Or you hear someone walking up with very heavy footsteps. Do you keep knocking?
If it seems like got his attention, I'm gonna stop.
Okay. Then you eventually see a Torterra walking up. He looks around sort of confused. He eventually walks over, sort of unsure of what's going on. But after taking a look around, he sort of just shrugs.
When he turns around, I'll like kick the door one more. Not really kick, and that's an attack. I'll make like a sound just so it appears there's something maybe in there. That's kind of the goal I'm trying to do here.
Okay, how are you going about doing that? Make it sounding like something's in there.
Like I'll kind of like palm the door rather than knock.
Oh, to make it
So
sound like it's
like a thump.
okay. You do that. And as you do that, the Torterra goes back. He looks at the room. He goes down and he looks at the arcane thing on the lock, and eventually he pulls out a key, and you notice as the key touches the lock, the alarm doesn't sound. He unlocks the door and he opens it to look inside.
Is there any way I could slip past him?
It's going to be difficult, but you can attempt to slip past him. I'm going to ask for both a stealth to not too obviously, because you're moving, to not make any noise, and I'm going to also ask for acrobatics to sort of slip past him.
Okay, just give me a second here.
Okay.
I'm gonna go down the hallway a little bit
Okay.
and say, and try to do my best impression of a stasis and say, security to the foyer!
Oh, you're using that are you using that mastermind feature?
Yeah.
Okay, let me look at it. And let me see how I want to rule this. I mean, I'll allow you to attempt to, Okay, I am going to... Yeah, you definitely have heard her speaking for more than 1 minute. I am going to say... I'm going to allow this, actually.
Okay.
So, yeah, he hears this, and he begins stomping off real quick, leaving the door open.
Okay. I was gonna go for the keys, but he left the door open. I'm gonna go in the room and frantically look through. Oh no. I'm going to look on the desk.
The desk appears to be clean.
There are drawers on this desk.
Yeah, there are drawers, though.
I am
just
going
meant
to
the top.
check.
Sorry.
I'm gonna check if there are they're like kind of the same nature traps as that was on the door on these cupboards.
Roll another investigation. Well, do you want to enhance that, or are you going to go with it?
I am going to go with it. Is it? I'm looking for specifically that trap too. Keep in mind.
Fair.
I'll donate 2 points.
That only increases by 1.
I'll
I'll
also
donate
too.
4 points.
Okay.
Wait, isn't it 1 for 1 when it's increasing our own rolls?
Your own
Right,
rolls.
we're increasing it.
Yeah, you're increasing his roll, not your own roll.
I see.
Okay, so Quill's going to do 4 points into that. Okay.
As a safety, I'm going to put on 2 as well, so +3.
Okay. So you look, and you are reasonably certain that there is not. You know what these runes look like, and you're reasonably certain that there isn't any of those runes on the drawers.
Okay, I'm gonna go through the drawers and look for any eye-catching documents or items.
You find a badge with a star on it, and under it are a bunch of documents with a P on it.
I'm gonna take them.
Okay. I'm going to have to wait until after the session before I give you exactly what those documents say, but alright. However, as you take those, you hear some more stomping again.
Okay, I'm gonna shut the drawer and then try and slip out of the room.
Roll me stealth.
All right. Is this do I get anything for being invisible, or is it?
I'm going to say you would normally get advantage for being invisible, but because you're sort of rushing out, I imagine, because you hear footsteps, it'll be disadvantage, so it'll cancel each other out to be just normal.
Okay, gotcha. 30.
Not that it matters. Okay, you managed to slip out of the room, and you managed to do so basically unseen.
Okay, and then I'm going to hurry back to my room,
All right,
stuffing these in the bag of holding.
all right. I was not expecting this, but congratulations.
Yeah.
I was literally not expecting you to succeed at any of this. Okay. All right. Then we move back to you, Sergey.
All right. Last on the list, Warren.
Okay, so you go below deck, and funny enough, just sort of like your first encounter, so to speak, with him, you see him sort of hiding out behind one of the doorways, though as he sort of sees you, instead of going behind the doorway to hide further, he walks down and he says, "Oh, Sergey?"
I'm back. It's a funny story, actually. So I've been talking with the rest of the crew, and, well, things came up with the guild, and we're looking at dealing with Leviathan's Claw, but he pauses for a bit. I've already talked with most of them. All of them seem to be willing to go along with this, as this is more of a direct assault, but Warren, I'm not necessarily certain if I want to ask you to come along with. This is something that could be truly dangerous.
He pauses for a moment, he says, I mean, I get that, but... Sergey, if the crew's going, and if you're going after Leviathan's Claw, then I can't just not help, especially after what happened last time. I nearly betrayed the crew and everyone to Leviathan's Claw just out of fear, and you guys helped me anyways.
It's not that. It's in an attack directly like this, there is real danger. Not to say that last time there wasn't, but
I
this
know.
isn't like making a deal with them.
I know it's dangerous and it's gonna be a scary situation, but I do want to help you, and you'll need me anyways. Cause last time those pirates had those Carvana, right?
Right.
Well, I'm good at fighting in the water. I'm really good at fighting in the water, and you'll need someone who's really good at fighting in the water to help you.
I just want you to make absolute certain you know what I'm asking.
Yeah, I know it's gonna be dangerous, but I need to do this, and I want to do it either way.
All right. It's. He does pause. I'm just looking to make sure I avoid a situation happening like what happened with Eisen and I.
What do you mean?
Someone at your age having to deal with pirates like that. It's definitely a shock to experience what we did. But I guess you didn't see what happened with Dana.
I mean, Dana, I don't know why, but she joined them, and she roped me along with it out of fear. I know there's some not so nice people there, and I know it's gonna be brutal. I might be young, but don't forget I did speak with Dana. I know how those pirates work.
I just don't want you making the same mistake I did. Do you know Eisen's and I's story?
Not really.
There's a good reason I'm interested in taking a Leviathan's Claw. I have made it clear that I have a past with them, but it's a more personal one. The way that their crews worked. Just know, I really would appreciate it if you don't tell the rest of the crew to what degree. But there was a time back when I worked with them as I was young, and I don't want to see Leviathan's Claw perhaps take away that innocence from you.
They won't. I'll be fine. Don't worry. I know it's risky. I know it's not going to be easy, but I also know I can't just let this go. Especially if you've got most of the rest of the crew going with you as well. I have to be there to help out in whatever way I can.
Well, it all comes down to Radcliffe's decision. But I'm going to be letting him know that it seems that the entire crew is with us. Still here?
Okay, I'm here.
Okay.
Okay. That's what happened. Yeah, you were cutting out there. Stream started buffering, all that.
Oh gosh. Okay. Is the stream still running?
Yep.
Yep. I
Okay.
just was before you cut off, saying to Warren that I wanted him to promise that he would try to be careful.
Okay. Warren says, "Yeah, don't worry. I don't want to just die or anything. I mean, that's why I avoided the Trumpinell Islands, was because I didn't want to die. So I'm not gonna be going out there trying to get myself killed, but I also I also want to be brave and I want to do this. I want to help in whatever way I can."
All right. I see. He gives him a nod and looks towards the. Perhaps there's like a grate that can see under the light.
Yeah.
Well, I guess it's. No, yeah, it would be light.
Yeah.
I'll go talk to Redcliffe.
All right. See you later, Sergey.
Mm-hmm. He'll let everyone know.
Okay, and finally you're gonna go back to Radcliffe.
Yep.
Okay, so you leave the ship, walk back onto deck, and you see him there and he waves to you.
And he waves back and walks up. Well, I believe that's most of the, or not most. That would be all the crew to talk to.
And what did they say?
It seems to be full agreement, actually, that they're willing. Though I've made my own promises. For something like this.
No, sorry, continue.
For something like this, I'm going to be doing my best to make sure that people will stay safe.
Indeed. I imagine for many there was a lot of hesitation, wasn't there?
Quite a bit. Tried to explain the full situation, but as we've discussed, I think the big one is just that everyone knows what they're getting into, and if we're getting through this, obviously the crew gets their part of whatever do we find.
Honestly, Sergey, for me personally, I'm not interested in the loot itself too much. I'm
Neither
not
am I.
I'm not interested in the glory. I'm not interested in any part of this. In all honesty, if it weren't for you, I probably would ignore these pirates, because what I want above all is I want my crew to remain sailing with me in the coming days and the days to come. I want to have my crew here. I want to have them all be safe. I want to provide for them the best I can as we continue sailing these seas. I wouldn't want the glory if it means coming to my death, personally. I especially wouldn't want glory if it means coming to my crew's death.
Funny.
Therefore, for me, I'll ask you to make one deal. And if you
And that
agree,
would be,
then I'll agree.
and that would be
I ask you first off to help make sure that my crew remains safe, though you've already said you plan on doing that.
as far
But,
as saying I've promised them of them that personally.
indeed. But, in the event that they do end up dying, which is a very real possibility, I ask for I ask a life for a life. if someone in my crew should end up dying, then Sergey, I'll ask for you to replace them.
He looks up, admittedly surprised. Like, returning to a life of sea after all that's going on.
I don't
That's-
mean right away specifically, but if you've got something you absolutely need to do, like you've said, then you could take some time to finish that job, but I mean, once you're finished with whatever job you have here, whatever major thing you're doing, then I ask you to join with us, should someone perish.
I've made quite a lot of different promises and plans. Lots of new faces I've made friends with, and even so, given what I promised, I don't think I could deny that that's only a fair trade.
Very well. Then we have a deal. For my part, I do hope that it doesn't come to that, but I felt it was best to ask anyways.
I think it's understandable for either of us for something like this.
Very well. Then, by the sounds of things, you have all of us. When are we to meet?
It will be tomorrow, from looking at things now.
Very well. Tomorrow it is then. We will meet at your inn and we will be ready.
Just double checking that though, it would have been the one day, right? Because
It was 2 days ago yesterday. It would be one day, and it would be, yeah.
okay, yeah. Sorry, just when you got all the days going around pretty quick this session.
Yeah.
I got confused too.
And the session has been one incredibly long day, too.
Yes.
Alright, is there anything else you want to do, Sergey? By now it's probably pretty late for you, so there's not much you can do, but...
Not really.
Okay. Then, everybody, after all's said and done, you all converge back to the inn.
All right.
Which means you don't have to be muted, Quill. Well, that was...
Yeah, I know.
Okay. Yep, so you've all converged back into the inn. And it is once again late evening with the sun shining over the sea.
As soon as we get in the room, I like close the curtains.
Never mind the sun, screw the sun.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And then I look around and look to Radial and tap my forehead.
What have you gotten yourself into, Eugene?
Oh, I did something really bad. I shouldn't have done it. I was going off impulses, and I did something really impulsive and really bad. And there's a bunch of mind readers around, so now I'm really worried about that. I snuck into the mayor's office and I stole a bunch of stuff.
You what?
He's talking in Renniel's head.
Oh, I thought this was the mind connection for the whole.
No.
Okay, never mind. Sorry.
If Reniel decides to share that, then yeah.
Well done, Eugene. I would not be concerned about the mind readers, though. You have that ring.
Yeah, I know. I met our old friend, and it's just really, 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 really worrisome carrying this stuff now.
What exactly did you find?
Well, I opened the drawer, her cupboard to her desk, and I found a document. I have not read it yet. It was labeled with P on it, so you could probably imagine what that entails. And I found a badge that has a star on it. I don't know what that means.
Interesting. Do you plan on sharing this with the others?
The one thing I'm worried about is we only have 3 of these rings, and one of us is prone to that, getting mind read.
I believe Harold is the one with the other ring, correct?
Yes.
Do you wish for me to communicate this information to him?
At least tell Sergey what the predicament is.
Very well.
And Reniel is going to relay to Sergey that Eugene has. I'll just RP it.
Eugene. Or Sergey.
I wait. Why are we speaking like through the mind?
Eugene wishes for me to communicate to you that he has done some risky activities. And
One day. Well, I've been busy, huh?
yes, it would seem we have all been busy today. At least I would assume so. That is all.
And then he cuts the line and goes to Harold.
He just Sergey immediately just shoots a glance at Eugene and Reniel before saying aloud, "What?" I assume there's no response.
And Reniel's going to say in Harold's head,
Harold, Eugene has infiltrated the mayor's room and gotten some documents from her, along with a badge that has a star on it.
Harold initially starts blinking rapidly, and then I guess he's not totally in on parts of this being withheld from Sergey, so he's going to pull out that little piece of Kalen's wool that he's carrying around, and he's going to cast Minor Illusion to replicate the shape of the badge that he saw on Estesis earlier that day.
Okay, you
Like this.
yeah, you do that. That looks exactly like the badge you have, Eugene.
Yeah, it's like as I see him do that, I'm like nodding and like signaling to put it down.
It dispels it.
And Sergey is watching this with even more confusion.
I need to assume this is something I shouldn't know.
Your mind is not shielded.
I ran into our friend the Glossifleur again, and she appears to have the ability to read minds.
Ah, wonderful.
And so I'm quite wary of what we should share here in this town at the moment.
Need to get another of these rings somehow.
In other words, I don't get to know. All right. I'll just be.
Well, I just say at least not for now. Once we're on the sea, there's some more stuff I learned. But I also was able to picked up somewhat of a small crew.
small crew.
Those bandits we arrested, they are willing to go with us.
Wait. We didn't talk about this. And I've already talked with Radcliffe and the whole crew's on board. I don't know how they're going to react to 4 bandits showing up.
Tell the truth, they're not. Do you think they willingly chose to be bandits? They're just hungry. They just need a means of. I trust them, Sergey.
I'm worried about how they might react when we run into Leviathan's Claw. If they can be swayed.
Don't worry, I've taken that to account.
Eugene gets a slightly worried look from Harold at that statement.
Just trust me, okay?
Harold nods.
But on top of that, I found out some information. It seems like our friends, the CILS, have a part to play in Leviathan's Claw. And it seems they're using that red rock again to use feral Pokemon as part of their crew.
Of course.
But that means if we are able to find where those rocks are, destroy them, then that disables most of the crew.
The crew are likely not to be ferals.
Well, they're strike teams. They're sending a bunch of ferals aboard ships after they put up the fog cloud.
Close, but I do not believe that is technically correct. Remember back on Tronfinel, they were using this crystals to control non-feral Pokemon?
Oh, yeah. It's true.
We may be dealing with non-ferals who are being mind-controlled.
Thus meaning that... Oh no. It could be as far as them kidnapping.
It is more or less a hostage situation. If the crystals are destroyed or made inert via some methods too early, the crew that is part of Leviathan's Claw legitimately could take the innocent individuals as hostages.
Then again, any hostages they have are probably fairly able to defend themselves. They might not be able to deal with the mutiny like that.
It is certainly possible that if we can get the dazed and confused individuals to assist us, that we could easily overwhelm Leviathan's Claw.
That's what I'm concerned about, is how will those Pokemon react when they're no longer under the influence of the crystal?
Likely dazed and confused.
Right.
But perhaps we should prioritize that if we're to engage them.
And then the other problem is going to be we've talked about what the Leviathan's Claw is doing in the area, and I forget, was this actually said aloud to the whole party with the mentions of how the Leviathan's Claw is kind of interrupting the purge right now?
It was
You were told they're part of the. They're doing stuff for the CILS, but not necessarily that they're disrupting the purge.
Or at least it was implied as a talk between the party at some point, wasn't it?
Think so?
yeah,
Reniel did speculate that if we allowed Leviathan's Claw to go unopposed, that it would continue to hamper the Purge's ability to operate.
Oh,
Right.
right, yeah. Rhino did speculate that.
Just,
And the fact that they're working with the that the CILS is directly employing them only leads credence to that.
just sort of thinking back to what Renil mentioned. And as we've heard from Stasis. So, if they are actually disrupting things with the Purge, then how do we deal with them without causing another problem?
We do have to play sides here, don't we?
It's not an option I'm looking forward to. But obviously, Leviathan's Claw is its own problem. It's just that at the same time, it has an effect. Simply because of these crystals being involved now.
But how do you tell that to the crew that we're just going to let them go?
That is indeed the problem. We can't.
We can. They likely will not listen, though.
And Aurora's going to be there as a witness, too.
I have already spoken to her. Just so you are all aware, she does not seem to have any knowledge of the CILS, Purge, or any of these factions we have been dealing with.
Hmm.
But it also should be said that she does not have any particular allegiance to her mother. Whether she would approve of disrupting her mother's plans, I suppose she would not. Though she would probably not like it if we attempted to kill her mother.
Yeah, probably not. So, what's our plan going to be here? I think.
Well, first and foremost, the safety of our own crew.
Mm-hmm.
But as we're dealing with Leviathan's Claw, he sits there and thinks for a moment. It's really a rock and a hard place, isn't it?
Personally, I think we should just get Leviathan's Claw out of the equation.
I can't deny I'm not in agreement with that. It's one less thing to deal with, but we'll have to see how the Purge reacts.
I am certain there are other ways to inhibit the Purge's activities. After all, we are technically still members of the Guild, and if we can disrupt the Guild's activities, we disrupt the Purge.
For a moment, he's sort of sitting there looking up at the idea and thinking to himself, so it's more like both of these groups are almost as more as fronts for both organizations. So if we... No, we can't do that with the Guild, but we can certainly do that with Leviathan's Claw. We can find a good way to dismantle Leviathan's Claw by dealing with him now, but how would we do something like that with the guild?
I am
Because-
certain Raven would be able to assist.
Right, but more so, we're talking about dismantling something that many Pokemon look forward to signing up for, or simply look to help. Whereas the Leviathan's Claw is very clearly nefarious.
Then do not target the minions. Target the leaders.
Thornton?
Potentially. I was more thinking Shad. After all, not only do I have a personal vendetta against him, but he is the lead of their scientific operations. Eliminating him would cause a drastic...
Hang on, brain stopped mid-sentence.
Would cause a drastic brain stop, probably.
would drastically impede their operations.
Well, these are things to look at after the fact. For now, I think we can agree then we'll find a way of actually dealing with Leviathan's Claw. Whether that be as simple and straightforward as handling them.
If we let them go, they're just going to hurt more people.
I can't deny that. It's definitely a case of putting them down.
I met a sailor in the tavern, and they wiped out his whole crew.
There's a dark look from Sergei from that.
He only managed to escape on a piece of driftwood.
That's not at all how that crew used to operate. I think the only good option here is the drastic one. Assuming we can all agree on that.
Renial nods.
They need to go.
Agreed.
It's funny.
I fail to see any humor in this situation.
I'm just thinking back to my old captain saying, "Dead men tell no tales." It's a common one that you might have heard, but I think it's about time that maybe certain ones weren't allowed to tell tales. And that means Leviathan's Claw.
Well, whatever we have to do to get them out of here.
Alright, is there anything else you want to discuss?
Nothing really else coming to mind.
Not just yet.
Alright, then if there are no objections, then I think we will end this off.
Okay.
Right.
I guess
So,
in the morning we'll plan.
yeah, we'll see you all next time for Pirates and Pirates and Pirates.
Oh boy.
See you all then.
Pirates and pirate accessories.
Yes, pirates and pirates accessories.